Okay, so we're headed into Universal this morning. We're not going to the park, we're going to do something different. We do it every year, the sixth house Unmasking the Horror, Halloween Horror Nights behind the scenes tour. We've been around a couple of the houses because we've been to a couple of nights of Halloween Horror Nights tonight.
Just dipping my toe in. Although both nights were like 2 a.m. finishes.
Yeah.
I bailed on one because I got a headache and I was sleepy.
We had a look to see which houses were included on the tour, so we're doing the sixth house. There's a six house tour and a three house tour. So we've got this sixth house Unmasking the Horror behind the scenes tour booked.
That's why you say, because I can't get all that out right now.
And when we were going through some of the houses the other night, we had a look to see which houses were included on that. And the house that confuses us the most, and is so far our least favourite house because it makes no sense whatsoever, is Triplets of Terror, and that's not included on the tour. So there's a couple of houses as well that we haven't been in. We decided we would do the three house tour as well, because Triplets of Terror is on that one. So we
all four Triplets of Terror, the one that I said I'm never going in there again. We're paying to get behind the scenes.
What the hell it's talking
because
about.
We need more of an explanation, and yes, it is important, and there is a Universal podcast that gives you backstories, but Triplets of Terror isn't on there because it's so bad.
So they usually do it the background of it, the houses, particularly their original houses, because obviously they make up the story, so they do a podcast. Discover Universal, it's a good podcast, and we listened to them all on our road trip last week.
I'll have my opinions on it.
We listened to them all on our road trip, didn't we? When we were in California.
they were all right. These ones, I'm gonna say,
and it kind of makes you excited about some of the houses.
To the people who read the stories, slow down a little bit, and it's pronounced Saskia.
Yeah,
not sausage, or Saskia.
Right.
Anyway, I digress. So we're gonna head in.
The three houses that are included on this tour are Slaughter Sinema 2,
which we haven't been in
yet. The Museum Deadly Exhibits, which we also haven't been in yet, and Triplets of Terror, which we've been in twice and makes no more sense the second time as it did the first time. Right, so we're going to go and get a coffee and maybe some breakfast to take in. It's 8:30.
It starts at 9:50.
Yeah, and our tour starts at 9:50.
They're roughly about 3 hours long.
Yeah, it's 3 hours long.
Oh, we're not going to get a lunch break because it's not the 6 hour one. We're just going to get to the end of it and then go get lunch.
And then we're going to go and get lunch.
All right, fair play. Let's go.
Bit of background information on the Unmasking the Horror tour. There's, like we were saying before, so there's two tours. One is a three house tour, one is a six house tour. The tickets are on the general ticket page for Halloween Horror Nights, and they release the tickets I think around about the time that they start releasing the day tickets. The prices are, so it was $109.99 plus tax for the three house tour. The six house tour is $179.99. I think it also depends on the day. You come into the park, you come into City Walk, and then you head towards the old Blue Man Group entrance. So you come into the park, and then when you get to like where the globe is, instead of going straight forward through the arches, you go off to the left. It's really good because you kind of get to know the stories behind the houses. You get to know a little bit about how they came up with the concepts for the houses. A lot of them, they've had the concepts for the houses for a long time, and they kind of cherry pick some that they want to do.
Yeah, that's my favourite part.
Yeah, it's good to do them and then go through the houses. You kind of see different things. So they do this thing every year where they'll put like a little Easter egg kind of mascot in the houses. Last year it was frogs.
And
apparently I was talking to Sean was saying, our friend Sean was saying this year it's snails. So then kind of, as they take you through the tour, the houses you go through show you where they are, but then it kind of prompts you to look for them in other houses. Other things to do is they tell you little Easter eggs to nods to previous houses or previous rides.
And they point out like props that you've seen from other houses, like this was used in whatever.
Yeah, so they'll reuse sets. So one of the houses that we went through, I can't remember which one it is, but there's a police car, and I think it's the police car from the Silent Hill house.
Is it not Ghostbusters?
No. It might be Triplets of Terror, but if it is, I'm going to ask.
And we were saying the front of the house on Triplets of Terror is a house off of something.
Yeah.
But we can't figure out what it is.
So they use the front, the frontage of the houses and stuff like that. So yeah, you're not allowed to film during the tour because you're not allowed to use the audio.
So
you can
take for a snapshot reel.
So you can take photographs We are at the Archers, and then you go to the left. So this was the old Blue Man Group entrance that we're going into. And we just have our tickets just come by email, and they just scan you in. They give everybody a little headset, and you get a tour guide that takes you around. So it's like a lights on tour. There's no voice, there's no scare actors obviously in the house. And the only days that they have the tours on are days that the event is on an evening. Thank you. Are we just super early, or are we the only ones here? Snake, you got a snake in your
Snake crossing. Is this a poisonous snake or not?
Oh no.
No. Can I pick him up?
It's a baby snake.
That's a little tiny. He's just a black snake.
Watch me get bit. Yeah.
I mean, it might bite you.
It might bite.
How's it going?
Good,
Hi.
thank you.
You guys want to follow me? I'll take you to the table.
Yeah.
If you wanted to grab any snacks or waters or hit the restrooms before we begin, it's down the hallway. What?
So we're with Jack.
Jack. All right.
It's going to be right here. Welcome, welcome. Have you done Unmasking the Horror tour before?
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Do you remember who your guide was last time you were here?
What's your favourite house so far?
Mine. So I have a least favorite house,
Okay.
which is weirdly turning now into my favorite house because I'm enjoying not liking.
All right, let's hear it.
Triplets.
Triplets.
I know.
Oh, that's crazy. If you
So-
look right here, I'm wearing a button with the
But
Triplets
this
of
is
Terror
the thing. I
reference
think
on.
I'm going to come away
That's
from
well,
it
that's why we booked
upset.
this. So we've got a 6-house tour booked. We booked this one because Triplets isn't on
We
it.
need some
and we
explaining.
decided we
So
needed some
Triplets of Terror, I'll
information.
say right now, it may not be my favorite house overall, but it is my absolute favorite house to do a BTS tour
Okay.
through, because there is so much story, so much detail that is just very hard to know unless you go through on tour and through a guide explaining all of it to you. There's so many details just in the opening of the facade alone that are like, there's a foreshadowing to the later scene. There's a little hints about this character. There's
Yeah.
a little, treat for what you're gonna see later. There's Easter eggs to a previous house. There's so much, like, even just in the first scene you'll see.
Yeah.
And then going through the whole house, there's so much there. I think a lot of people have said after coming on the tour, they're like, oh,
I love it now.
I understand that.
These are new, so maybe they're a bit better than the ones that we had previously. Because sometimes we had some crackly.
I feel like it's for the scare. I love
Just like feeling like I'm in some sort of security detail.
one of my favorites. I think it's an underrated one.
Clear out the back door.
See what houses
We'll see a lot of cool set design and story beats today that are basically invisible to you if you're walking through the little conga line at night when everything's dark and you're getting scared. So it's a great perk of this tour here. As we do go through today, if you guys have any questions at all, if you can't tell, I like talking. The other few things I want you guys to know today as we're going on through, obviously you guys are here for the tour today. Everyone on twitter.com is not. So no video or audio recording or uploading to the internet information is for you today once we get out to those houses. However, photos are encouraged and allowed. We have a lot of great photo spots, places that I have absolutely posed with and made my profile image on my Facebook page. So if you want to take photos at the houses, that is absolutely okay. With an asterisk. There's some areas as we go through today that will not be good for photos. I'll let you know if it's a photos up scene or a photos down scene as we make our way through the house. Sometimes they like to keep them things as a surprise for people walking through it.
This spot ever to record this, but obviously we're all geared up now. We got our little jobbies. This will be the last bit we can film because we're going to go into the houses, but we'll take lots of pictures and you'll see them like now.
First house that we went into was the Museum Deadly Exhibits. It's an original house, which means it was designed by the Universal creative team rather than it being an IP. This year there was actually more original houses than there was IP houses.
The story is set in the Museum of International Folklore. They have a new exhibit featuring the rotting stone. The rotting stone is a medieval stone that appears to be cursed, and the curse has taken over the museum and its exhibit.
We head into the lobby, and in the lobby you can see that the rot has already taken over the walls and the people. There's a column that's dropped down from the ceiling upstairs where the floor's rotten away, and the room shows signs of rotten decay already.
And in the bottom right hand corner behind our tour guide, it looks like a weird sandbag pit, but that was where a scare actor is kind of fused to the desk, the front desk, and when you walk past he gives a little bit of a flail.
So every year the creative team use code names for the houses to keep them a secret, and in this case it was desserts. The museum's code name was baklava, and there was a plate of it in the lobby.
Another fun fact, I did not know what a baklava was.
You've had one before.
That doesn't mean I know what it is. So the rotting stone is part of an exhibit based around death throughout the world and its cultures. Going into the exhibit, you notice that the statues had little holes in them, which is playing into some people's phobias with like trypophobia. The creative team likes to do that. It likes to bring real life kind of fears, phobias, things that make you uncomfortable, just to add to the overall unsettling vibe of the house.
As you walk through the museum as well, you walk past various displays, and all the displays have got little tags on them, and the tour guide showed us the tags. But they are all the exact same tag.
Which is?
I'm not saying it.
It's a Mesopotamian hammer. So that was a running joke all the way through. Every time you'd get to a new exhibit, you'd point it out and say, and of course this is a Mesopotamian hammer.
So as we walked through, you could see the effect that the rot was having throughout the museum, and it's highlighted during the event with various lighting effects, and sometimes there's smells.
It just looks like mould.
Yeah. So as we walk through as well, there's obviously all of the staff members have deceased in some grisly way.
They've departed.
One of the tricks that they use quite a lot in Halloween Horror Nights houses is mirror tricks. So one of the tricks that they had in this house was they had an infinity mirror. So there was only 4 mannequins in there, but when the lights are off and there's a spotlight on it, it actually looked like a big crowd of headless museum people coming towards you.
I love that. I love the creative tricks that they come up with that they reuse in different houses. So the next exhibit that was photos up was Goblin Boil. As you walked in, there was the classic Halloween Horror Nights taxidermied bear, famous last year for being Mama Bear in Yeti Campground Kills.
Last year there was a scare actor in a huge bear costume.
He was all neck.
Yeah, he was all neck, 'cause I think his head goes in the neck so that he can actually see. But we saw them a couple of times, didn't we, on cast changes? It was hilarious.
Oh, the crowd went wild. If a bear and a giraffe had a baby. One of the other things the creative team likes to do is pick little creatures and critters and hide them somewhere in the house, like an Easter egg hunt. This year was snails. The snail in this house was in the snow. Rest in peace, snail. That was in Goblin Boil area, hidden in the snow.
The next photograph, as we walked through Goblin's Boil, it was kind of like a little snowy village type set. And on the right hand side, you can see it almost looks like planks of wood, like it's a wooden house. The material that they use for this is called scrim, and it's actually like a woven mesh. So what they do is they'll put a scare actor or a big prop behind the scrim, and then the light up behind it, so as it's triggered as you walk past it. So the scare actor, I'll be in like a boo hole, or he'll be in there with like a foot trigger, and as you walk past it, they'll light up the light and make you jump.
So the next room was mourning as in your losses, not mourning as in good morning.
It was very psychedelic.
I was going to say that it had almost like a hallucinogenic. They didn't say that in the tour.
No.
But I'm guessing if it's rot, maybe it's like, I'm going to say it, ergot poisoning. And I guess all this is kind of leading you to believe that you are coming to the epicenter of the rot, which then it leads to the stone itself.
But the next exhibit is the rotting stone, which was actually huge.
Jack, our tour guide, told us that during the event, as you walk through the house, there's actually an audio tour playing overhead, and the deeper you get into the house, the more distorted that audio becomes, and the more it's kind of being taken over also by the rot, until you get to the stone itself and it's just static, which is quite creepy.
Yeah, and the light effects, he was saying that the light effect on the stone on the night kind of pulsates so that it looks like the stone's kind of breathing and is alive. So that was it. That was the first house. That was Museum, Deadly Exhibits.
So the next house we've got is Slaughter Cinema 2. All 3 of the houses that we're doing on the 3-house tour are all original houses.
Fun little update on my t-shirt. I thought I'd spilt something all over it, but it's just the UV activated pink. Yeah, when I was picking it up in the store, you did say, oh, it says it's got UV paint on it, and I just looked at it like it's just a black and white t-shirt. So it's, yeah, no. I'm impressed.
So next up on our tour is Slaughter Cinema 2. As you're standing outside the house in the queue, you pass a large screen which on the night time will be playing trailers for all the movies featured inside this house.
Slaughter Cinema 2 is a sequel house to Slaughter Cinema 1 from Halloween Horror Nights 28 in 2018, which takes place in the Cary, Ohio Drive-In Theatre.
So the premise of Slaughter Cinema 2 is lots of little mini houses amalgamated together in the form of almost like trailers.
Yeah, like walk-through live-action trailers.
Yeah.
The foyer is your typical absolutely filthy cinema foyer with the usual concession stand items you'd find in your local cinema if you like floor popcorn and vomit.
If you look closely above our heads, the guide pointed out there are some fly strips. This is another nod to Bugs Eaten Alive house from 2022.
Right, so straight into the house. First up we have the Mardi Gras Murders, which is set in a motel featuring a couple who are partying hard for Mardi Gras, and straight away on the floor we see the rubber matting, which, as we all know, means you're going to get wet. The water hose for this was on the table next to a pool of vomit, so any guesses what you're getting sprayed with?
Yep, vomit.
That's right.
So on the night time there's a scare actor here. He appears to be the drunken boyfriend who lunges forward as people pass him and he sprays them with yesterday's gumbo.
Delightful. On the table we have a cobbler, which is a code name for this house because it's cobbled together with ideas that could potentially be future houses, like last year's Yeti campground kills, which made its debut in the original Slaughter Cinema house, which was also featured on one of the trailers that you'd see in the entrance. They actually filmed the footage last year during the event, which is pretty cool.
A subplot to this room, if you look closely, you'll see an open ring box on the table. As you walk through the room, we see the other half of the couple has been attacked by another scare actor. We did notice that she was wearing her engagement ring.
Oh, she said yes.
Yeah, congratulations. Also on the table with her, we spotted this house's little snail in amongst the cigarette ends and beads.
Also partying hard. Just think what he had to do to get them beads.
He had to get all his nipples out.
I don't think snails have one.
Well, he didn't deserve beads then.
Next up was Killer Kringles, as a very buff Santa takes his naughty list very seriously.
Yeah, so our guide told us that all of the cast members that were cast as Santa were cast particularly for their stature, so they were all really buff.
I love a house full of buff Santas. As we walk through the room, we see that there's various victims in different stages of dismemberment. He's actually wrapping his victims up as Christmas presents. And don't forget Mrs. Claus, because she's also complicit. She's helping make a feast for Santa's little elves who appear to have a taste for human flesh.
We passed through into an area that had a workshop table with a body on it. In the background of this scene there was a naughty and nice list.
I have to do this, but what is your name?
Toria.
Toria, let me just check my name. Naughty!
Wrong park. The guy told us that the naughty and nice list, all the names on that list are all the artistic team that were responsible for this house.
Cute. Alright, then we move on to the Night of the Undead Clowns. The backstory for this room is, again, a tie into a previous house mentioned earlier, BuzzCon Company from Bugs Eaten Alive.
I love references to Bugs Eaten Alive.
It was a really good house. It was one of my favourite houses. BuzzCon, the company for Bugs Eaten Alive, have dumped their toxic waste, and unfortunately the dump site is an old clown graveyard.
You would
Obviously.
think someone would check that before they spill toxic waste.
I don't know where my local clown graveyard is.
Oh yeah, it's just near the city centre.
Can you get that on the council website?
I'll get it on Google Maps.
So we have the bodies of clowns embedded in the walls, toxic goo dripping, and boo holes hiding multiple zombie clowns. So, you know, standard clown graveyard
Yeah,
stuff.
just what you usually see in a clown graveyard. So the rest of the house was photos down because it's a testing ground for potential future houses, as we mentioned before. Houses in the past have had their origins here on a smaller scale,
The other rooms that we passed through were Heavy Metal Hell, which was basically a teenage boy who played a record backward, opened up a portal to hell.
Triggering for anybody who lived through the Satanic Panic.
Hatchet and Chains, which were demon bounty hunters. One of them was a cowboy and one of them was a demon. Blood and Chum, featuring the best animatronic shark puppet that we have ever seen.
Oh my god.
So as you walked through, you were kind of underwater, and as you looked up, there was some little legs.
There was a big
swimming.
pipe as well, wasn't there?
Yeah. Mummy Strippers Unwrapped, which I'm hoping this is going to be a future house.
My favourite part of the house.
Yeah, so basically this guy has got a strip club, and I think, did he say steals some
He gets
monies
some
from some
props, Egyptian props.
There's some sarcophaguses. Sarcophagi in amongst his Egyptian stuff, and there's some mummies in there that he reanimates.
He reanimates and becomes kind of like the masters of these pretty sexy mummies.
Yeah.
And he puts them to work in his strip club, naturally. And finally we have Zyborgs, which was a bit like...
It was like if Hellraiser and
Terminator
7 of 9 had a baby.
Yeah, it was a trench in some sort of post-apocalyptic fight against the cyborg machines, featuring big kind of cobbled together machinery shooting lasers at you.
Yeah, it was lots of like lights and things like light effects and things like that. As we made our way out of the house, we passed by more movie posters that were throwbacks to the original Slaughter Cinema house. One in particular was Beast Baby, which was actually a drop panel jump scare that had the Beast Baby prop behind it. Next house up is Triplets of Terror.
Ooh, finally, will we ever know what's
Understand.
going on? Alright, we're going in for our last house now, which is the much awaited Triplets of Terror. We just done Slaughter Cinema, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was really good.
So good. I actually cannot wait to do that tonight. And get me 5-hour energy shot down me and go wild in that house with the mummy strippers. Not all mums are strippers. Just a fun one. The final house on this tour was Triplets of Terror. This was the whole reason we even did this tour to begin with, because we had done a walkthrough, so we didn't get it.
No, couldn't make sense of the story. It was probably the one I was least looking forward to seeing, and then didn't really understand it.
To start off, we enter the Barmy residence through the front yard.
There's a lot of junk outside. In amongst the junk, there's things like dolls with their heads pulled off and various bits and pieces, so there's a lot of foreshadowing into what is about to happen in the house. And there's also a dog bowl, so trigger warning, there's no photos of it because it was a photo down room, but there is a
Dead dog.
Can I pet that dead dog? The house number is 3324, which represents Halloween Horror Nights 33 in 2024.
Fun fact, you guessed the police car out front. You'd seen that before.
So the police car out front, I recognised it from Silent Hill from 2012. On the shelves outside of the house there was a BuzzCon spray bottle, so that's a little Easter egg from the Bugs Eaten Alive house from 2022. Welcome to the Barmy house.
Welcome to the Barmy house. The story starts, it's the 3rd of March 1984, and it's the triplets, Melody, Harmony and Junior's 9th birthday. And they're going to celebrate by murdering their whole family.
How else would you celebrate?
Well, depends on your family, really, doesn't it? So we got mum killed, dad killed, and we think grandma killed.
Yes, there was, when we had gone through the house, there was a lady sat at the table shouting, why? So
I don't know, grandma. You tell me.
Yeah, so she was obviously a relative that was going to be the last on the list.
Oh man, bet she wishes she hadn't turned up like that.
So the living room's all set up for the party. They've got their banner up with their Melody, Harmony and Junior, 3 of a kind, and we love you.
Oh.
And also the grandfather clock showing the time, 3:33.
We leave this room and head through a corridor which is set up like a podcast studio. Now the podcast being recorded is a true crime podcast about the triplets and their murders. They're infamous for their murders. The story goes that they re-emerge every 10 years to recreate their birthday party and murder people along the way. The corridor kind of serves as a passage through time. It's got newspaper clippings, news footage is playing on a loop, and audio of the podcast can be heard. And I guess it kind of takes you to 2024. They have broken into a nice lady's house because, I'm going to say purely because she's baking a cake.
Yeah, so every 10 years they come back to recreate their birthday party. So in order to do that, they've got to go and collect cakes and gifts. So they've broken into this house. There's a kid that's come in from a baseball game. He's dumped his stuff on the worktop, hasn't even noticed his poor deceased mother, and he's just hid in the fridge trying to find some orange juice.
Which is ironic because her head is nowhere to be seen.
No. There is a baseball bat left on the counter with all the ingredients for the cake, and that does make an appearance of a weapon of choice for one of the triplets later on in the house. They've got their signature, which is the representation of the 3 heights of the triplets, drawn in blood and flour on the work surface.
The code name for this house was Fudge. The reason for that is because fudge is heavy. That's what they said, right?
Yeah, so he said that the fridge was heavy and the contents of the house is heavy.
Yes, I think that's pretty accurate. Directly after this was photos down. It was a little passageway which was like the utility, and unfortunately this is where we find our dead dog.
So we exit the house through that utility room and we come to the back of the houses. In the back of the house we found the snail. This time there was more than one snail, there was a trio of snails.
Triplage of snaps.
During the event there was light effects going on in this house, and one of the triplets had broken into the house, was hiding in the house, and there was a lady getting changed. She had her music on and met her untimely demise. Also on the ground there was a guy that had a little bit of a gardening accident with his lawnmower. So it looked like he'd been ran over by a lawnmower.
And I think it's safe to say you can't do that to yourself.
No, that's not very good gardening practice.
No.
So we continued on through the garden into a back alley, which led us to the back of a butcher and bakery. The final party scene was going to take place. So the triplets have gathered together the bodies of their victims. They've set up their party table,
including all their stolen cakes.
Yes, they've got their stolen cakes, and they have gifts. Again, their gifts have got their initials on them.
So another fun thing was on the night time when you actually walk through this house, if you wish them happy birthday, they'd kind of interact with you a little bit.
Oh.
So everyone going through was going, happy birthday.
Yeah, so the last night of Halloween Horror Nights that we went to, we saw loads of people with party hats on, didn't we?
Yeah, that was very cute.
And we had a lovely piñata made from Kitchen Mum's head that was stuffed with fingers and treats.
We escaped through the back of this room, then into the sewers. The implication is that we've escaped. We're the triplets now, apparently, according to me. And there's police lights and sirens that they're closing in on us, but we get away just in the nick of time to be back in Set Your Watch 10 years' time.
So our tour guide told us that part of the set from the sewer scene was the sewer cover that was above us, and it was used in the 2023 Universal Monsters Unmasked house in the Phantom of the Opera scenes.
Which I did actually recognise.
Yeah.
Alright guys, so that's it. That's the 3-house tour, Museum Deadly Exhibits, Slaughter Cinema 2 and Triplets of Terror. And if you enjoyed that, we've got the 6-house tour upcoming on a future vlog, so don't forget to check into that. And now we're going to go back to Halloween Horror Nights.
Check the houses out, now we know the backstory.
Now that we've got a clue.
We also have our 6-house tour that we're doing to the end of the year here, where we go through all the other houses that we didn't see today. So if you want to go on that tour there, we offer it again for the rest of this event. We also give our RIP tours at night if you want to go through the houses without waiting in line. The tour guide will walk you around. We have a lot more fun that you can have with us at the department. If not, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Halloween season. I got basically nothing else for you. We do have an email survey that we send out at the end of the tour. That's the place where you tell them, we want to tour through the props warehouse. Please, 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 please. But seriously, if you write that, they will see it. There's not that many of us tour guides, only 20 or 30 of us. We're a pretty tight little department here. So if you do fill that out, let them know if you liked the tour. If you liked me, I've been Jack. If not, just say I was Robbie, that guy we passed. But thank you guys very much. I'm going to hang out here for any questions or anything like that. But if not, you are free to go. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a happy Halloween.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Filming next to the world's noisiest roller coaster. We are finished the 3-house tour. That was good. We've got a lot of information to unpack.
And now we like triplets.
Well, I was just about to ask the question, do we feel any different about the Triplets of Terror?
I feel like now that I understand it, well, I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah. So we asked the question why there wasn't a podcast. I don't know if we mentioned it earlier. We'd said about the fact that we were listening to the Universal podcast, backstories on the houses, and there wasn't one for Triplets of Terror, which seemed silly because
There's a podcast.
there's a podcast in the story. So he said, very simple, they recorded the podcast, and it was just too gory, and they couldn't use it. I don't know how gory could it have been.
Yeah, but I guess
no comment.
yeah, I guess it's because anyone who has the internet has has access to the podcasts, whereas you only have access to the houses if you have tickets. So
I don't know. I don't know.
I think they missed a trick.
Well, if they're worried, if Universal, right, here's one I'm going to throw out there for you. If Universal's so worried about children hearing a gory podcast, why can I put Candyman on at 9 a.m. in the hotel?
Yeah.
Why could I put South Park on at midday? Answer me those questions.
Riddle me this.
I don't care. My kids would watch that because it'd be cool.
Like you watch them.
You watch them. You're very
I've never
cool.
seen South Park.
You're gonna have to
Disowned.
I've seen
Disowned.
Candyman.
Give me a passport right now and a marker pen. Yeah. So we're gonna go grab some Panda Express,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
the
now.
tradition after
it's
after the tour we do.
Yeah,
Panda
because
Express.
normally we do the 6th house tour, we get a lunch break in the middle, so now we're just finishing with Panda Express, and when we do our 6th house tour,
Yeah.
we'll also have Panda Express in the middle.
Yeah. So our tour guide was called Jack, and we've asked him how and if we request him, because we've got the 6th house tour booked with Chris and Lindsay and Megan Fox. Not Megan Fox, we're not going
You
with
are
her.
going with Megan Fox, I can't wait. Apparently she's really
It's
nice.
Meg and Fox, Meg's boyfriend. Anyway, we're gonna request Jack because he was really good, wasn't he?
Yeah, so hopefully, and we've built a nice little rapport with them.
I got noodles, orange chicken, and Angus black pepper Angus beef.
I don't remember what I got, black pepper chicken.
Yeah, and orange chicken.
I got orange chicken and Beijing.
Oh, Dr. Pepper. Alright, as much as I love you guys, I'm starving, so bye.
I've got hiccups to go with
You got the hiccups. We're gonna head back to the room after this and maybe have a lay by the pool and a read, and then nice chill out before we hit
I need to
the
rest
event
my
tonight.
weary bones.
Yeah, and then we're gonna prioritize those 3 houses tonight when we get back. Yeah. Nice. All right, let's do that. See you later on, guys.